it seems to be my week for receiving channeled messages for people on the twin flame journey. And I'm okay with that. This is a rough journey. And anytime any of us can help with messages that come through, we should be sharing them, in my opinion. Now, this one is very specific. It is not going to be for every twin flame. And so I want to lay it out right now who this is for, so you don't waste your time. Go watch something that's more fun, because this is not fun. This is for divine counterparts, divine masculine or feminine. It's not specific to one energy or the other, that are dealing with what most of us would call a karmic. Someone that you're close to, that you love or have loved in the past. Someone that there are or have been emotional ties with. But someone that you have realized is manipulating you. And you may have even made attempts to either sever a romantic or friend relationship, or set strong enough boundaries with a family member, and you're not having any success. What's going on here has you feeling absolutely trapped. And you're thinking, I'm just going to give up. This is too hard. Now, it's unusual for spirit to be buttoned in this way, because usually we're supposed to learn our lessons and we don't get cheats to get out of them. But my understanding on this is that this has already been quite a harsh lesson. It has, of course, fueled growth, but this is at the point now where the people that this message applies to need to know whether they are feeling confident in their connection to spirit or not. It is a strong connection. Spirit has been hearing you ask for help and is stepping in. So, if that seems like you, keep listening. If it's not you, there's really no reason to, but I'm sure there'll be people that'll watch anyway, and that's okay. Because this isn't only something that applies to twin flames. This particular thing happens to a lot of people. This message is about emotional blackmail. Apparently, what has taken place up to now has tipped off the karmic that things are not going exactly according to their plan anymore. It is making them feel a bit desperate. It is making them take actions that are a little more drastic. And I will just tell you my theory. I believe that a lot of twin flames were raised by narcissists and therefore have gravitated toward partners who are narcissists as adults and are very used to this particular thing already. And so until they start to heal and understand that the way they have floated through life has been strongly influenced by being raised in an unhealthy manner, they don't even blink at this kind of thing in at least its lesser form. To my understanding, in some cases, this has become quite serious, where people are afraid. So what is happening is the karmic feels like they aren't in control anymore, and they are going to greater lengths to be in control, and they are whipping out the emotional blackmail in a big way. And this works because you love them, or you're at least close to them. There is a term called fog, which is fear, obligation, guilt. And these are the things that emotional blackmailers rely on. They know your vulnerabilities. They know, in some cases, your secrets. They know the things you're afraid of. They know which buttons to push. And the buttons are being pushed in a big way right now. You are not stuck. You are not unsupported. And what I've been asked to do is just make you aware of what I just said and do some research to maybe share some tips about emotional blackmail and how to deal with it, escape it. If my theory is right, and many of the people that are dealing with this have been raised by narcissists and have had narcissistic partners, then we all know it's not easy to escape a narcissist. But there are ways. And the biggest message that I am supposed to pass on before I go do my research is that just like regular blackmail, where you hear that someone comes up with the demanded cash and then the blackmailer says, oh, wait a minute, let's just make that a little more money, or continues to blackmail them in the future, emotional blackmail is not going to stop. You probably have dealt with emotional blackmail all throughout your life if you have been surrounded by narcissists. You may not recognize still at this point that the narcissist dynamic is even in effect in your life, but I don't get the feeling that the people here are in denial about that anymore. They've done enough healing to learn to at least like themselves, if not love themselves. They have built up their self-love and their self-esteem, and so they have understood finally that they deserve better treatment. They deserve respect. And it is all that growth, which is nothing to sneeze at, that has shown them the relationships that need to go in their lives. And when they have started making the moves, this has triggered the karmics in a big way. And thus things have escalated to a point where there is now fear and a sense of entrapment. So that's all I'm going to do for the channeled message. I think that that covers everything that I am supposed to convey. Wait, okay. Reinforce, they are saying. Of course, you have free will. If you want to stay stuck, it is your right. If you can't move past your fear, that's okay. You're still loved. All right. See you in the next video. Bye. First, I need to say that I'm not a counselor or a therapist. I've done some research and am presenting just a tiny bit to assist a specific sector in the spiritual community. This is about emotional blackmail. Everyone, at one time or another, perhaps on purpose or inadvertently, has used emotional blackmail on another to get something they want. We are talking here about a pattern, though. If the following statements are words you've heard before from someone you're close to, you're already familiar with emotional blackmail, but might not have recognized it. I'm going to start with a couple that are the most TikTok sensitive and leave it to you to fill in the blanks. If I ever see another man look at you, I will blank him. If you ever stop loving me, I will blank myself or blank you. I've already talked about this with other people, and they think you're being unreasonable. I'm taking this vacation with or without you. How can you say you love me and still be friends with them? You know, I would have gotten ahead in my career if you had done more at home. If you don't take care of me, I'll end up on the streets. You'll never see your kids again. You'll destroy this family. I'll make you suffer. You'll be sorry. You're not my child anymore. I'm cutting you out of my will. I'll get sick. I can't make it without you. Well, if you won't have sex with me, I'll get it from someone else. If you can't buy that for me, knowing how badly I want it, you're worthless. I think that's enough that you can get the flavor of it. Emotional blackmail is manipulation by one person to get what they want from another, ramped up especially when they're desperate to get you to perform at their bidding. It is when lives are closely linked that emotional blackmail is at its strongest, because the blackmailer knows how important the relationship is to you, along with knowing your vulnerabilities and sometimes your deepest, darkest secrets. Threats could range from threatening suicide if you don't do what they want you to do, to threatening to reveal secrets that will cause you to be disliked or ostracized. Whatever it is with full knowledge of playing on your fears. People who use serious emotional blackmail are abusers attempting to control another person's thoughts and feelings, and are very good at making their victims feel powerless and confused, making them feel as if the blackmailer is being completely reasonable and that it is the victim who is being unreasonable. Emotional blackmailers use personal information about the victim's vulnerabilities against them, will do their best to emphasize obligation, and will create undeserved guilt and blame to attribute their problems to the victim. There is an identified process of common steps and progression, and there are different categories of emotional blackmail. But rest assured that once emotional blackmail is successful, there will be another demand that follows, and another, and another, and another. The blackmail process doesn't work effectively without both parties actively participating. People with a strong need to please others and avoid conflict need to recognize how their own behavior has allowed patterns to be created. But it doesn't mean that the patterns can't be dismantled. One of the most important skills to learn can be to detach from intense emotions by pausing to step back from the situation rather than immediately respond. There are choices to be made. We can accept things as they are, we can negotiate for a healthier relationship, or we can end the relationship. But no relationship is worth the cost of emotional and mental well-being. Stopping emotional blackmail in relationships starts with the victim doing whatever it takes to believe that they don't deserve this kind of treatment. Knowing their own patterns of behaviors, such as people-pleasing and approval-seeking tendencies, can lead to understanding where to make changes. When you are being threatened, consider a long pause before complying with the request. Take a break and think about how you're feeling about the demand. Create some distance from the emotion of the situation so you can make a healthy decision based on logic rather than that emotional default. Repeating a neutral statement to the demand, such as "no thank you," stops that back and forth and eventual capitulation of the emotional exchange. If you're recognizing at this point that you are a victim of emotional blackmail, seek support. You've had your self-confidence whittled away at and may not feel strong. There are many articles you can refer to if you feel like doing it on your own. But please remember, there is no shame in talking to a counselor or therapist to not only find emotional support, but assistance in putting together a game plan. You are not trapped forever. There is a way out. It does start, though, with you standing up for yourself and recognizing your right to be treated with respect.